So here we have the Diva Cup, which is model number 1 for women under 30 years old who have never delivered vaginally or by C-section. So it says 12-hour wear, up to 12 hours, leak-free, easy to use, and reusable. Here is some instructions on how to put it in, and here is how to choose your size. Comfortable, clean, and easy to use, leak-free, protection for up to 12 hours at a time, 100% silicone, no color, plastic, BPA, or latex, so that's good if you're not allergic to latex, reusable, eco-friendly, and economical. Alright, so here we have the cup, and I will say it's a little heavier than I thought. If you've ever used like baking ware that's silicone based, it kind of feels this way. It has, is that a hole? No, it's not a hole, but it looked like it. So there's some milliliter information in there, 7.5, 15, made in Canada. And it came with this little box with instructions, so let's check it out. Okay, cute. It has a little bag, cuppy for I guess when you're not using it anymore. And this looks like instructions, as I was hoping it had. So this is what I was looking for. So before first use, submerge the Diva Cup in an open pot of boiling water for 5 to 10 minutes. Use caution when inserting and removing a Diva Cup with long fingernails. When first trying the Diva Cup, it may require a bit of practice and can take 2 to 3 cycles to feel comfortable with insertion, positioning, and removal. For first-time users, it is recommended that Diva Cup be inserted during the day and not be worn overnight until comfortable with insertion and removal.
Hey everybody, so today is day 1 of my period, and day 1 for me is usually extremely heavy. Day 2 is medium heavy, day 3 is just medium, and day 4 and 5 it's pretty light. My experience this morning trying to put the cup in, I was in the shower, I figured, you know what, that's perfect. The instructions say while you're standing up you can do it, or squatting or sitting. So I was like, I'm in the shower, everything is clean, everything is wet, this should work. It didn't. I could not get it in for the life of me, and I was in a rush, so I was like, you know what, if I have to be relaxing as the instructions say, I just can't do this now. So I just skipped that part, and then now I'm home. It's about 5 o'clock. I'm about to go for a run, and I figured, you know what, let me clean up, let me try this cup again. And so I followed all of the instructions. I put it in a little U shape, and I got a little bit of lube because, again, it still wasn't going in. Like, my body was just like, I don't know if it's because I was like tense or what, but the lube did help. Now, getting it inside, you put it in, you kind of just shove it in there, and you have to twist it to create the seal. So it's to turn it 360 degrees. I personally had a lot of trouble doing this. Again, it is day 1, so maybe I'll get better with time. I couldn't twist it, and you really do feel everything. Your hands will be dirty with, blood. But now that it's in there, I hope that I created the seal correctly. I feel like maybe I did. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. I feel no pressure. So hopefully the seal is intact and I won't leak. I'm gonna give it the exercise test now. I'm gonna go for a walk, jog, run. And something light for today just because it is day 1 and I'm already fatigued and tired. And I don't want to exercise in the first place, but I know I have to and that I should because it usually makes me feel better afterwards anyway. So I did put a panty liner down just in case. But hopefully this thing holds it together and is exercise proof as well. So yeah, day 1 down in the books. Hopefully day 2, 3, and 4 are better. Now, taking this out, how will that go? I'm kind of nervous about that. I really am, but I guess I'll keep you guys updated. So I have been walking for about 45 minutes. I don't feel any pressure. Everything feels fine. I don't feel like I've been leaking. I definitely want to say that it feels like I have nothing. So that's kind of good.
So it has now been about 5 hours. It's now like 10:30 and I first put it in at 5. So I'm going to take it out. I'm going to remove it and dump out the contents because I am not waking up at 5 in the morning. I'll be waking up like around 7:30, almost 8. So I want to make sure that I'm good between that 12-hour window. So this is going to be my first time taking it out. Wish me luck. Alright, so thumb and index finger, I'm trying to feel the stem. Can't seem to grab it. This is better if I sit down. Alright, so I was able to pinch it. But it keeps going back in. Ugh, Jesus. So, this was really interesting. So, taking it out was definitely weird. It felt like a little popping sensation. However, I was able to grab the cup accordingly and make sure that the contents didn't spill everywhere. But once I saw it, I realized, wow, you know, I really didn't bleed as much as I thought I did. But then again, it had only been 5 hours. It was probably like at the 7 amount, which I thought is interesting because a lot of times, you know, when you're wearing a pad or a tampon, it just looks like a whole lot of blood or whatever. And you don't really know how much your body's actually letting go of. So it kind of lets you know how your cycle really is, which I think is interesting. Now the popping sensation, or I guess the suctioning coming away, was really interesting. And then trying to get it back in, you know, you have to make sure you clean it really well. And again, I had to use lube because I couldn't get it in without it. And I feel like that made the process a little bit easier. So if you're like a first time person like me, using something that would lubricate it, not something, but something that you can use down there to lubricate it a little bit, so that's a little bit easier insertion. Sounds weird, but probably a lot easier than just trying to get it in there without it. And then so I did the same thing, I put it in, and I wasn't able to do the rotation again. I don't know if I'm grabbing it wrong, but I don't feel anything now. I kind of jumped and wiggled and did all the stuff to make sure I didn't feel nothing. And yeah, I don't. So now I'm gonna go to sleep. So I will see you guys in the morning. Day 1, I'm done. Good morning. So it is day number 2, and I was able to take the cup out in the shower. I still haven't maneuvered it correctly. I know that what I'm doing is wrong. It's just to start by pulling the stem and then pinching it and twisting it out, or putting it like side to side like that out. I literally just grab the stem for dear life and just like kind of push it out, and then I hear the little popping sensation, and then that's when you get to see the contents inside. So far I thought that like it'd be at the very top of it, but it's only been about half for me, so that's really interesting to know. So today's gonna be my first full day of wearing it, and last night was my first full night of wearing it, and I had no leaks. I had nothing on my underwear, so that was really cool. So far my thoughts are, it's a pain in the butt to get out, but I think it's just because I'm not used to it yet. I still don't know, I still haven't figured out my technique. And number 2, it's kind of a pain in the butt to put on also, because if I don't have lube, I can't get it in. So that was my other issue this morning, so I had to use that as well. But I think it's, again, just figuring out which technique works better for me. So far the taco shape doesn't work for me. I have to put the little part inside and then squeeze it so it's a little bit smaller, because I feel like it just goes in easier for me when I use that method. So today is my first full day. Last night was my first full night, so let's see how this goes. I think that it takes 2 to 3 cycles, so we'll see. Really, for me. Look at my little butt. Currently looking like the biggest, reddest potato, lobster, shrimp, whatever you want to call it. But I just did my workout, kicked ass. If you never heard of Metcon, I just showed a little clip of what it is. Not me actually doing the workout because I don't have anybody to record me. But the real test, this is day 2 of using the little cup, is going to be at home when I look at my underwear to see if there's any stain. I did lay down panty liner just in case. But so far I've had it in all day since about 8 o'clock this morning. It's now 5:12. So, I mean, so far so good. Feels like nothing is there. The real test will be later on to see if there's any change. So I'll keep you guys updated. I wish I can say that it got easier, but unfortunately it just felt just as hard to take it out and put it in. And this is round number 3. I will say that after the gym I did have a little bit of stains. That could be my fault too. Maybe I didn't put it in correctly and the seal wasn't properly in place. But it wasn't a lot. It was just like the tiniest little smidge of color. Good morning, everybody. So today was finally a success, day 3, and I think I finally got it. And by success I mean I was able to do it in the shower, standing up,
and using lube, it took about 3 minutes versus usually taking anywhere between 6 to 8 minutes. So that was cool. You know, yesterday I was like, I give up, like, but let me finish it for the video. I'm never gonna use this again. But since today was actually a good, positive start, I think I might implement this in the future. As far as taking it out, I was able to wiggle it down through the stem of the little base. And then the fear that I had, which is why I wanted to do it in the shower, is because, you know, you think if I pull this out and everything kind of like pops and comes out of the cup and it explodes everywhere and it's a bloody disaster. That was my fear. But it hasn't happened in any of the days that I've been using it. But I was able to finally do it in the shower, taking it out and putting it in, and it took me like 3 minutes. So success. So this is Monday, this is day 3, 7:40 a.m. So 7:40 p.m. is when I'll be changing it. So I'll check in with you guys again later. Hey everybody, so I just wanted to give my final thoughts. I have positive, negatives, and a quick couple of FYIs. As far as FYIs, I wanted to say, I didn't touch base on this in the video, but when you're using the restroom for number 1 and number 2, I figured this would be a little TMI. It's the same sensation that you would have as if you were using the restroom while you were wearing a tampon. You feel a little bit of pressure, but you can still go about your business and it doesn't interfere with that. Also, I did not shoot on day 3 or day 4 because I felt like it was a little bit redundant. I finally got it down packed, and also those were my lighter days. So I felt like, you know what, instead of using the cup, since I'm only spotting, let me just use a liner and go from there. So it's totally up to you depending on your flow. I also firmly believe that you have to read the instructions from beginning to end. They are long, they are thorough, but they are good. And like anything new, with this, it can get extremely frustrating if you're just not getting it. Trust me when I say stick it out. The instructions say give it 2 to 3 cycles. It takes patience, it takes love, it takes TLC and all of that to make this thing work and become more of a habit. It's so hard to shift your thinking from using pads or tampons to now using this cup, because those are easy. You've been doing it since you were young, and now you're using this new thing that's completely different and more invasive to say. And I just gotta say, stick it out. So as far as negative goes, for me, the part of the instructions that say where you have to touch the base of the cup and twist it internally so you do a 360-degree seal is still difficult for me. I couldn't get it, but I just figured, you know, you feel it when the cup goes from when it's in the little folding method to when you put it in and it opens. So if you don't do the twisting, you may have like a small leak, because I know that I did at the end, but it wasn't like a mess at all. It was just like a couple drops. Now, hopefully with practice, it gets better. Negative that may not be a negative, but to me, if you do not have some form of lubrication, it is extremely difficult to get this inserted, in my honest opinion. I don't feel like just the cup itself, while it's dry or even with water, is easy to insert. You do need a lubricant. It makes the process 1,000 times easier and just easier. I don't know how else to explain it, but if it's your first time using this or even multiple times down the road, I would think that this is a staple that you would absolutely need in order to make this work and not want to throw it out the window. So I would say that's kind of a negative, because you can't just use the product itself. You do need to use some kind of lubrication to insert it. So this leads me to think that I would not recommend this. For example, if I had a daughter that was like first getting her period and still figuring out her body, the cup itself is fairly large, and like I said, it's really hard to insert for an adult myself. So I don't think that this large cup where they have to use some kind of lubrication and this whole thing would be a good thing. So I think that's kind of a negative within itself. Maybe if they made a smaller one, but I don't think I would recommend this for a younger lady that's still getting familiar with their body. The big one that I thought of is, you know, I was able to do this every time while I was at home, doing the whole process, because it's once every 12 hours. But if you happen to be in public or have to use a public restroom, I didn't have to do it, but in my mind, I would think that would be a definite negative. You know, you're in a public restroom and you have to take it out, and you have to dump out the contents, and then you have to wash it, and then you have to wash your hands, and then you have to reinsert it, and then it just seems like too much to be doing in a stall. So can you get around it? Absolutely. I think if you take baby wipes and hand sanitizer and you have no other option, this would have to be what you do to make do. But that to me is kind of a negative.
However, since it holds so long, 12 hours, it can work because then you can kind of frame your day around, all right, I'm gonna be home around this time and then I won't be home until this time, or if I happen to go home on my break, maybe I should change it then. So that kind of helps you plan out your day a little bit better. But I will say that kind of freaks me out if you have to use it in a public setting. I wouldn't want to do that, but if I absolutely have to, you can make do. We are women, we can make it work. So now for the positives. So I want to say that not having to go to the restroom multiple times a day to change a tampon or a pad is a plus. Yes, inserting it that one time and then 12 hours later to take it out and put it in again is kind of a pain in the butt, but to me it seems way more convenient to do it just once every 12 hours and having to go to the restroom multiple times a day and not have to worry about leaks, because it really does hold everything in there. I had very, very minor leaks, and honestly, I think it was my fault because I didn't create the seal correctly. That's something that I'm still working on. So that is a positive, because I don't want to be going to the restroom every time or worrying about, oh my God, if my tampon needs to be changed and every 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever it be. This one every 12 hours, you get to go about your day. You don't even feel it there. So another positive is that for me, I'm very active. So I feel like this is a plus for people that are active. I didn't have any leaks whatsoever, and my activity, my workout exercises are pretty intense. So I thought that was a major, major plus. I felt very, very comfortable down there. You don't have a tampon, you don't have a pad, you don't have the little string bothering you, nothing. It's just there and you don't feel it. So that was a major plus. And the same thing goes for when you're sleeping. If you're inserting it at night and you wake up in the morning and you change it, you don't have to worry about a large, sometimes if you don't want to wear a tampon at night, you would wear a pad, and then sometimes you leak and it's just messy. And with the cup, kind of just avoids all of that, which leads me to the next thing with pads and tampons. It is blood, so it does have a feminine odor. I noticed with the cup, that doesn't really happen. If you're taking it out in the shower, you're cleaning out the contents, everything down there is fresh, and I did not notice a feminine odor compared to when you use a pad or a tampon. So if you're about the environment and you care about this planet that we're on, which I really encourage that you should at least recycle or do something to help out this planet, this is a step that you can take. You're eliminating the amount of trash, plastic and cotton and paper that you use on a monthly, yearly basis to now be using this cup that's reusable that you can use for 1 to 2 years. And in some cases, there's other cups that last up to 10 years. So to me, having a less environmental impact is a major, major plus for me. Another major plus is obviously the impact that it has on your wallet. I paid $29 for the Diva Cup, and you pay this and it lasts you 2 to 3 to 4, 5 years. They just say if you have to replace it if it has like a little hole, or if you see discoloration or anything like that that just bothers you, you can change it, but that still significantly changes the amount that you spend per year. I read an article in USA Today that said women spend an average of $150 on feminine products alone per year. Imagine, we have our cycle since the moment we're, average is like a 12-year-old all the way through menopause, and that's just a lot of money that we're dishing out to these companies that we don't have to do. So to me, the positive impact is my wallet. I get to spend that on makeup and hair products. So hey, you spend this one time all these years, or you spend something every single month, and you're giving money to these companies that are just ready to take it, and you don't have to. Save your money. For a person that really cares about the ingredients that you put on your face and your body, tampons and pads are loaded, if you've done any research lately, with chemicals and colorants and treatments that they do to bleach the cotton and the paper, and we're putting that in our bodies or on our bodies, and we shouldn't. Versus this menstrual cup, which is made of medical grade silicone, and it's BPA free, paraben free, and these are things that you literally know what exactly is going into your body every single time. So if you happen to have an allergy to silicone, then don't use it. But other than that, you know exactly what's going in and nothing else. So my number one reason to really, really like this cup is that you are in tune with your body. You get to see how much your flow is from one day to the next. You are really just feeling yourself more than ever, and that's okay. The subject of blood and tampons and vagina and menstruation should not be taboo. Millions of women go through the same thing. So when I told my fiance that I was talking about this, he was like, oh, that's gross. I'm like, it's not. I bleed and I don't die. So keep that in mind. It's so empowering to just be in tune with your body. Now, with that being said, from all the positives and all the negatives, the positives outweigh the negatives, and I will continue to use this little magical cup on a monthly basis. I think it's so empowering to know how your body is, what it can do. You're not giving your money away to these feminine hygiene product companies, and you're protecting the earth all in one. So yeah, it's a little weird, yeah, it's a little bit uncomfortable at first, but I give it a major thumbs up, and I highly recommend it if you're open to it. Like I said, give it a try. It gets frustrating, but stick it out. Stick it out and you'll see that this is something that you can probably incorporate on a monthly basis. I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's a little bit long, but my informative videos are a little bit longer than usual. I do post on Wednesdays, mostly related to beauty and health. If you haven't checked out yet, I have a video on my wigs. I will link it up in the card. I have a cool like wig collection. I'm a little crazy like that. And also my most recent one before that was I did a drugstore foundation on the Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. I'm not wearing it now, but it's a good one. So make sure you guys check it out, and I will see you guys next week. Have a great rest of your day or night or whatever time you're watching this. Bye.